Demolishing a house most often looks like this across the U.S. But in some areas on the West Coast, houses are now torn down like this, without wrecking balls, but with workers who disassemble the building piece by hand. The method is called deconstruction, and it allows homeowners to reuse or donate most building materials of the house and get substantial tax benefits in return.
Deconstruction involves more labor, but you end up with materials that have a value. And when the deconstruction prices came down to a point where it made sense, that's when we began to do it as our regular routine.
This is the second home deconstruction for Palo Alto developer James Witt. After more than 3 decades of building homes in the area, he switched to the new method last year. Mr. Witt paid $15,000 for the disassembly of the bungalow. An outside firm appraised the materials that will be donated. And come tax time, Mr. Witt expects to get enough money back through deductions to offset the entire cost. A regular demolition would have been less, about $12,000, but he wouldn't have gotten any tax benefits. Mr. Witt says it's not only the financial incentive that convinced him.
I think it's part of the community understanding that we're not just there to make a quick buck and move on. We're proud of what we do, and we try to do it we try to have the smallest footprint we can and still build new houses.
Deconstruction is a growing trend in California, triggered by the movement to more eco-friendly building and stricter environmental laws that regulate what ends up in the landfills.
This is a big part of why we deconstruct.
Roderick Cooper is owner of a deconstruction company in Palo Alto. He says about 30% of all houses that are torn down in the Bay Area are now done through deconstruction, up 10% from 5 years ago. Mr. Cooper was hired by James Witt to deconstruct his house. He says 85% of all building materials will be reusable, from the lumber and the roof tiles to the doors, windows, lamps, and even the water heater.
This is a prime example of why we should deconstruct homes more than demolish them, because material like the water heater and the sinks, floor tiles, ventilation vents, cabinets can all be put in, a new home.
In less than 1 week, the deconstruction will be complete. Then all reusable materials will be sold to nonprofits and directly to the public. Kay Liu had her house deconstructed about 6 months ago. The former PR executive and her husband decided to tear down the 1,600 square foot house that was here before and use the lot to build a 3,200 square foot 4-bedroom home.
We bought the house from the original owners, and they had actually put a fair amount of money into remodeling it, and it just seemed like a waste to take a bulldozer to it and a wrecking ball and throw it all away.
Kay Liu expects the tax credit to cover the entire cost of the deconstruction. She was able to recycle about 73 tons of debris and building materials from the former house. Not all of it was donated, though. Ms. Liu kept some of the redwood siding for her new home.
I think this is the best part of the deconstruction, the fact that we can sort of take part of the old house and reuse it in the new house. And you just can't get wood like this anymore. It's just beautiful color, it's a tight grain, it's going to be one of the highlights of our house.
Ms. Liu wants to use the redwood to cover part of the ceilings. She plans to move into her new home in May of next year. For the Wall Street Journal, this is Monika Vosough.